Hey, welcome in you Gooshbagz. It's week 11 edition of the Gooshbagz Fantasy Football League podcast. It's going to be a great one. As you can see, I have one of the newest members of the league, Chad Kuehne, with me here, fresh off of his beatdown of my team, the Scary Terrys, unfortunately.
Sorry, not sorry.
Hey, that's how it goes. You got to bet on yourself every week. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. So, the news in the Gooshbagz League this week was the main trade that we did, that I did. I was trying to get one quick trade, so I didn't have to play Tariq Cohen. I traded Philip Lindsay for David Montgomery. I don't know how you all felt about it. It was a really quick trade, but I was just trying to get a starting running back because I didn't think Montgomery was going to play.
Can I ask you a question on that?
Yeah.
So, I do think it was kind of lopsided.
Yeah.
I get why you were going for the win. Probably trying to make a playoff push.
Yeah.
Right. But I feel like it holds more weight because of the keeper aspect, you know?
You think either Philip Lindsay or David Montgomery is a potential keeper?
I think Montgomery is.
He could be.
It seems like historically guys with talent either struggle in their first year or their second year.
Yeah.
I think he's bound to have a breakout year next year, and they'll probably figure out their offensive line too. So
he could. Yeah, I guess for that sort of thing, you almost have to, if you're thinking about keeping David Montgomery, you almost have to look at, because he was drafted in I don't know exactly what round it was, but it was probably around the 5th or 6th round this year.
That's decent value for a breakout candidate.
Yeah, but I think due to his, I think he might go at a lower round next year.
Yeah, that's true. People might be sleeping on him.
Yeah, so, I mean, he could potentially, and to be honest, I wasn't going to keep him.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to keep Dalvin Cook as my running back.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be keeping him anyway. So if Neil wants to keep him,
yeah, it's nice to hear your side of it because I've made mistakes like that before. And learned the hard way.
Right.
It makes sense after what you said.
Yeah. So I mean, I mainly, like you said, it could have long-term repercussions, but I guess I was never looking at David Montgomery as a keeper candidate, and maybe I should have. And like you said, he is a very good running back. I just think it hasn't gotten the opportunity this year. But I didn't think he was going to play this week, and so I tried to get Philip Lindsay, or I got Philip Lindsay for him. And like you said, it was probably lopsided even for the rest of this year, but I was just trying to get some points this week. Unfortunately, it would have been better if I would have played Tariq Cohen. So, whatever. That's just how fantasy works. But I hear, Chad, that you have some big news for us.
Yes, I do, and I'm actually doing it right now.
At this moment.
At this moment, I just accepted a trade
from
Rogers Cup.
So Adam?
Yes. He's been pestering me about this all week, and I've been on the fence about it.
I'm sure he has. Wait, is he getting rid of one of his big running backs?
He sure is.
Oh, goodness.
So
what's the trade?
The trade is Allen Robinson, Saquon Barkley, and Aaron Rodgers for Michael Thomas.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think
so. Some pretty big names being moved.
Yes.
And I've been on the fence about it all week. Not sure, because Michael Thomas is having an amazing year.
Yeah, he's been real solid.
But I feel like, my running back depth is a little questionable, and adding a guy like Saquon you don't get that opportunity too much. And
right.
I have very good wide receiver depth, so.
Yeah. Well, you were talking about keeper, value.
Yeah.
So Saquon's up there.
Yep. And so one of the reasons I did not want to do the trade was because somehow I got Michael Thomas in the second round this year.
Right.
Which is incredible value for him. But I think.
Yeah, he's going to be first round value next year.
Yeah, but I just have this feeling that, as it gets colder, people are running the ball more.
Yeah.
Saquon's too talented not to have a good second half unless something happens. So I'm going to roll it.
I agree. Actually, I think you won that trade because Allen Robinson the Bears have a very good schedule for the rest of the year
Yeah.
as far as the defenses they play. And then Saquon has like the easiest schedule of any running back in the NFL for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So I was just listening to a couple podcasts and they were talking about people. If you can go out and get people right before this trade deadline, like that's like the New England running backs, or I'm sorry, New York Giants running backs for the ones you should go for.
Yeah.
So that's huge. That's a big trade. And I was thinking about how we're gonna do the. I mean, I know we talked about keeper values, and I said that we were gonna do like half of the average draft position for next year, and then the draft position this year. And in this case, so say Adam kept Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
I would probably give it to him for second round value because it would technically even out to be 1.5.
Mm-hmm.
So I would give the lower round to give that player a little bit more value.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess if you drafted somebody in the second round, they would never be a first round. I guess if you look at it that way, I suppose it would never be a first round draft. So you'd always get a little bit of value out of your second round draft picks. So yeah. So I think that'll be good. That's a good trade. That's a big trade.
Yeah, it is. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, I like my team right now. Having a good year.
Right.
Just felt like I might have needed a little bit more punch going into the playoffs.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I just got the notification. There it is. It's official.
So we'll see if that bites me in the ass or if I keep winning.
We'll see. I think, if Saquon can stay healthy, they were saying that his ankle is bothering him again a little bit, but I don't think it's necessarily enough to keep him out this week. But if he stays healthy, that's definitely going to be a huge boon for your running back position for the rest of the year.
We'll see.
Yeah. So I have we're going to move on to big news in the NFL, and I added a little something in here after I gave you the show doc. So I completely forgot about, since it was on Thursday night, I completely forgot about the Mason Rudolph, Myles Garrett shindig. So they got into a huge fight.
Shindig's one word for it.
Shindig is one word for it. It's the PG version for it. But
the G version.
No, so that was some insane stuff. And actually, we're going to throw in a question from Benaya because it's relevant. And he wanted to know from Chad Kuehne, did Mason Rudolph deserve it? Because I don't know if you saw any of the news today, but apparently there's potential. Myles Garrett is saying that he threw around a racial slur before he hit him over the head with his own helmet.
That's I've seen that, and thank you, Benaya, for such a tough. Because I feel like I lose either way I answer this.
For sure. When it comes to these sorts of matters, there's no way for us to win that conversation.
Whether or not something was said, only those two guys know for sure.
Right.
If he said something, like that, I could see it eliciting an angry reaction, but at the same time, dude, you gotta keep yourself under control, regardless of what he said.
Yeah. But yeah, I think no matter. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Go ahead.
No, you just can't. You can't lose your cool. You're a professional, and that just derails team chemistry, man. Like it's.
I agree. Yeah, and not only team chemistry, but that's what makes people turn away from the NFL in general. Watching the NFL, they see stuff like that. They think it's just a bunch of thugs out on the field hitting each other.
It was ugly for the league too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just think, like you said, it would probably elicit some sort of angry response if there were racial slurs thrown around, but I don't really think there's any reason to assault somebody with a helmet, because those things are hard, and that could have been deadly potentially.
Yeah, dude.
If it had hit him, in the right spot. So, or the wrong spot, I suppose it would be. So, that was just.
And like the scary thing is, like 2 weeks ago, we just saw the dude carted off the field.
Yeah. With a concussion. Yeah.
And just like that terrible sight of him with his face mask off, like.
Right.
Like clearly not knowing where the hell he was, like.
Yeah.
And then you're like, dude, You
Yeah,
could hold him.
exactly. Yeah, that's no good, and you don't like seeing anything like that in the NFL. But
No. So thank you, Benaya, for such a question, and I hope I danced around it beautifully.
I think we did a good job. So we have big news, other news in the NFL. We had some upsets, and this is the first time I'm actually talking about like a football game and the results of a football game. The Browns beat the Steelers, and that was a surprise because the Steelers defense has been fantastic. And Benaya's rolling over in his grave right now, being the Steelers fan he is. And then the Broncos had a huge lead. This kills me as a
Yeah, me
Packers
too.
fan.
Me too.
The Broncos had oh yeah, that's right. I could not forget. You're also a Packers. You got the Packers flag right in the background there.
Yep.
Yeah, but the Broncos blew a huge lead against the Vikings. They were up 20-0 at halftime, and
Yeah.
it's the only team that has ever come back and won a game from being down 20-0 at halftime, or by 20 points at halftime.
Crazy.
So
that I mean, if Green Bay goes into San Francisco and loses, and Minnesota wins, all of a sudden we're tied.
yeah, that could have huge repercussions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the injuries in the NFL this week, Marlon Mack broke his hand and he had to get surgery on it. It sounded like it wouldn't be as serious as I thought it might be. It sounds like he's only going to miss like maybe 1 or 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Auden Tate had a neck injury and was carted off the field. That still needs further evaluation to determine the extent of that injury, and that didn't really have too much of an effect on fantasy football, but it's never good to see someone carted off the field. Tyreek Hill had a hamstring injury early in the game this week, and he caused lots of strife, I'm sure, for Adam. And and then James Conner re-injured his shoulder, and they were saying he's out for sure this week with the AC joint that he re-injured. And it sounds like it could be a couple week injury as well. So I tried to pick Jalen Samuels back up. And sorry, I talked over you again. What were you saying?
So that's a tough one to come back from, AC.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. And yeah, I tried to pick Jalen Samuels back up, and Courts had already taken him for $10. So I only have $15 left, so I had to spend meager amounts, and I didn't put enough in there. So that would have been a huge start this week. And then Damian Williams injured his ribs, and LaShawn McCoy also got a concussion. So that means Darrell Williams they're on a bye this week. So we'll see how if LaShawn McCoy can get back from his concussion by then. I don't know the extent of Damian Williams' injury, but it could be the Darrell Williams backfield. So that's someone to keep an eye on.
What's been going on with that Chiefs offense, man?
I don't know. It's really like you'd think Mahomes is at the helm. Like there's no way they still have Tyreek. They still have all the running backs, but it's just not clicking this year.
I don't know what they're missing.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
I mean,
maybe
injuries, but I think Mahomes still isn't healthy yet. But
I think that's part of it, and I think also part of it, maybe just another year in the league, the defenses know a little bit more about Mahomes.
Yeah, and they really haven't ran the ball well.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of
backfield's a mess.
Yeah, I think that's caused them trouble because now defenses can kind of force them to run, and they're not running well. So they're stopping Mahomes in the air, and that kind of creates problems for the Chiefs in general.
Yeah.
So, well, the top scorer in the Gooshbagz Fantasy Football League this week was Mixon Mack with 128.8 points. So congrats to Neil on his first week as the top scorer. So that position has mostly been taken up by Courts for the vast majority of the year.
Yeah, he's been
He has, and that's just how every year goes. It's really unfortunate. I was hoping bringing more people in for more competition, less studs on the waiver wire that he could pick up, but he's just, I don't know what he does, but everyone he picks up just goes nuts.
He makes good moves.
He does.
I hope I can dethrone the king.
Yeah, I know. Any of us dethroning the king would be fantastic. As long as Courts doesn't win this year, I'm going to be happy. So on to the studs of the week this week. At the quarterback position, Josh Allen was quarterback 1 with 33.8 fantasy points. He had 256 yards and 3 passing touchdowns. He also had 7 rushes for 56 yards and 1 rushing touchdown. And, he was playing against Miami, so it was a pretty predictably easy win.
Nice plug and play by you.
Yeah, I had him on my bench for a few weeks because I know with his rushing floor, he's kind of a safe quarterback against most matchups.
Yeah.
But
at this point, it's like every week go to the waivers to see who's playing Miami.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And that's what I did this week. And I actually dropped Josh Allen off of his huge game and picked up Baker Mayfield. So, because he's playing against Miami. Josh Allen has one of the hardest schedules going forward.
Yeah, and they really like to run the ball too.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe that was a mistake, but I just didn't feel comfortable playing Josh Allen against all of the tough matchups he had coming up. So
I think he's still like a year away from really, really being that guy.
Right. He's got to get his passing figured out because
he got loads of potential.
Oh yeah, for sure. If he can get a little bit more accurate. He threw for over 250 yards this week, but he's barely thrown for over 250 yards at all in his career. He's always been running, so that's what makes him a good fantasy quarterback.
You want to talk about potential, though?
Next guy.
How about Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, Lamar Jackson was the quarterback too.
220 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Exactly.
86 yards. That's a crazy line.
Yeah. That's 4 passing touchdowns. That now he has improved his passing game over the offseason. So yeah, he had a huge game against Houston. Do
you see this dude run?
Yes, he looks like he looks straight out of Madden. It's insane.
It's Michael Vick-esque, but with more running back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, is he bigger than Mike Vick?
Yeah, I think so.
He has to be because he's got some power when he's running too.
Yeah.
So, man, he looks good, and I almost regret trading him at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And
get this though, man. I've got in that other keeper league I'm in, I've got Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes.
Dang. That's not like a super flex, is it?
No, I don't know which one I'm going to keep for next year.
Right, that's a tough decision. At this rate, I'd probably take Lamar. Well, they're probably both pretty late.
Yeah,
you have them both.
Yeah, one is 10th round, one is 12th.
Yeah, so yeah, that's tough.
Yeah,
but
I'll be watching closely.
Oh, for sure. So on to the quarterback 3 on the week was Dak Prescott. He had 31.6 fantasy points with 444 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. He also had 6 rushes for 18 yards. So he's been really good the last few weeks, but he's really got some tough matchups going forward. He has New England, Buffalo, Chicago, and the Rams for the next 4 weeks. So I have him in another league.
Do you think that Prescott is the guy? That they have the right guy.
Potentially, it looked like it at the beginning of the year because they had super easy matchups at the beginning of the year.
Yep.
And I guess I think
they beat Detroit this week, but
yeah, they did. Yeah, and he looked really good.
Yeah.
But I think we'll have a better taste of what he truly has to offer after the next couple weeks here, because New England is always tough.
It's fun to watch. Watching everybody in Dallas almost crumble and then
somehow come out on top.
They're on a roller coaster.
Exactly. So on to the running back position. Somehow Christian McCaffrey was the number 1 running back this week again. I mean, usually that's not a surprise, but this week he had 24.6 fantasy points. He had 14 rushes for 70 yards, but 11 catches for 121 yards, and he had no touchdowns. So despite no touchdowns being scored, somehow he was still on top.
That dude is unreal, man.
He is. I get sick of talking about him every week.
He's on a pace for record touches and record total yards.
Oh, yeah. So, Mark Ingram was running back 2 this week. He had 22 points. He had 13 rushes for 48 yards. He also had 3 catches for 37 yards and 2 touchdowns on those 3 catches. So he wasn't very efficient with his touches, but the touchdowns were huge for him. So
yeah,
that gave him
clearly their number one, their go-to.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And even Gus Edwards had a good game. I think he had
Yeah.
over 100 yards rushing this week. So
Yeah, I mean that Texans defense was porous.
Oh yeah. And then Todd Gurley was the running back 3. He had 18.8 fantasy points on 25 rushes and 97 yards and a touchdown and 3 catches for 36 yards. So the Bears have not been so formidable against running backs recently.
Surprising.
I know.
They're so good.
Yeah, ever since they went to London and they played against the Raiders, Josh Jacobs tore them apart, and then they've just been. I think Akeem Hicks went out right around then too, so
Yeah.
that's been a huge, you know, a huge nerf for their.
Yeah.
Using a gaming term, but I couldn't think of a better word. Yeah, so yeah, he's overall like he only had 18 points, so the running backs in general didn't have too many big games. They had a lot of like solid numbers. A lot of them were in the teens, but there weren't too many, massive numbers this week.
Yeah.
And then in the wide receiver category, John Brown, 30.2 fantasy points. He had 9 catches for 137 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, this is why I picked up this guy.
Yeah.
Because I knew he could do something like this. And then I traded him for Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
And I thought that I stole that trade, and everybody thought I stole that trade. But John Brown has proven me wrong. I'm pretty sure John Brown has more points than Cooper Kupp over the last 3 weeks.
He does, yeah. Kupp's been cold.
Yeah. So
right? I might have to give that one to you, man.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. My trades always seem to, no matter how lopsided they look, they always seem to come out the other way.
Yeah, I'm freaking knocking on wood that's not about to happen to me.
I don't think it will. But the wide receiver 2 this week was DJ Chark Jr. Yeah, he's a beast. He had 26.4 fantasy points, 8 catches for 104 yards. I put points, 104 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he helped your victory this week.
I sat him though.
Did you? Wait,
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
No, you didn't.
I did. He was on my bench with 26 points.
No way.
Yeah. It was Foles, his first start back.
Yeah.
And you remember all that preseason D.D. Westbrook hype?
Right. Yeah, I know.
That's why I picked him up. I was like, hey, this could flip-flop.
Yeah.
Real quick. So I picked up D.D. for a week just to feel it out.
Yeah.
That almost came to You almost pulled that one out. So
dude, yeah, Keenan Allen got a surprisingly good game on Monday night, and I thought it was, it was closer than I thought it was going to be. We'll put it that way. Yeah. But yeah, DJ Chark is definitely in that keeper conversation, huh?
Yes, sir. He's talented.
Oh yeah. So the wide receiver 3 this week was Calvin Ridley. He had 24.3 fantasy points. He had 8 catches for 143 yards and a touchdown. So he finally had a good game. He stepped up with Hooper out.
Yeah, he torched Carolina, bro.
Yeah, and I think he's going to continue doing so as long as Hooper. Well, Hooper, I think he's pretty much out this week, guaranteed. But with Sanu gone, he's definitely taken over. What Sanu did before, or Sanu's not there to steal seven targets or something. So
yeah.
So Calvin Ridley's looking good the rest of the year. I think he has some tough matchups coming up. So. We'll see how that goes. But
he's been playing well, though, man.
He has. So, in the tight end position, Ryan Griffin was the tight end 1 this week. He had 19.4 fantasy points. He had 5 catches for 109 yards and 1 touchdown. So, he's had some solid volume so far with no Chris Herndon, who had his whole season was 1 day, essentially. Yep. So, yeah, he's been good. I picked him up because George Kittle might not play this week, so hopefully he does well for me. And then I'm chasing the points. I always tend to do that. I don't know why, and it never really works out, but we'll see how it goes. And then Travis Kelce was a tight end 2 this week. He had 18.7 fantasy points with 7 catches, 92 yards, and a touchdown. So he's always reliable. He's Travis Kelce. So in the duds category, so I picked these people based on not necessarily the worst games ever, unless there's a historically bad game, but it's who we played that did poorly and that maybe didn't help our fantasy teams. So, dud number 1 for the QB position was Deshaun Watson. He only had, I didn't put the points. I think he had 4 fantasy points this week.
Ooh, damn.
Yeah. He had 169 passing yards and 1 interception with 3 rushes for 12 yards. That Baltimore defense just shut down Houston this week.
Dude, what happened?
I don't know. I put in here. It's supposed to be a shootout.
I don't know about you, but that was a 12 o'clock game.
Yeah.
You know, Green Bay had a bye that week, so I wasn't even to that. But I was sitting there before that game started. I was excited.
Yeah, I was looking forward to watching that game too, and it was just a blowout.
And then Houston just came out and shit themselves, dude.
I don't know what's going on with the Houston's offense. It just didn't look there.
And it made Lamar Jackson look that much better.
Yeah, so true. I mean, Houston's defense is not very good, but I thought that their offense could keep up with Baltimore's offense, and it just didn't. So, I don't know. Maybe they'll bounce back this week.
They probably will. They're usually up and down.
Yeah. So, yeah, just like Will Fuller, who's in their offense. Dude, Will Fuller is he is the epitome of boom bust. Epitome.
Yeah.
But anyway, dud number 2. It wasn't too bad, but Carson Wentz put up 12.3 fantasy points against New England, so it's kind of to be expected. And he didn't have like any of his passing weapons there. He was using his 2 tight ends the whole time. He had 214 yards with 1 touchdown and a fumble and just 17 rushing yards. So, I think that was just an expected bad day from Carson Wentz against New England. So, and it wasn't under 10 points, which is, I think, better than average against New England. So,
which is crazy.
Yeah, I know, it's nuts. And then at the running back position, Damian Williams only had 1.8 fantasy points. He only had 4 rushes for 7 yards and 1 catch for 6 yards. Now, he did get hurt. I don't know how soon in the game he got hurt, but that Kansas City backfield, like we were talking about,
it's fucking mess.
It's trash. Like at the beginning of the year, everybody was like, if you have a single piece of that offense, you're going to do well. Like, there's a chance. Yeah.
Like trying to predict the next piece, man.
Exactly.
So
and
really have one.
Yeah, outside of the top, those big 3, Mahomes, Kelce, and Hill, they don't really have too many.
I mean, understandably releasing him, but I think losing Kareem Hunt really is affecting them.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think, they still did well last year without him, but I think, without teams having to worry about Kareem Hunt, I think they, maybe Damian Williams is just easier to scheme against.
Yeah, he's definitely not as dynamic.
Right. So,
we forget how good Kareem Hunt was. Come on.
I know. Yeah. No, he was fantastic. So, and he's looking good even in Cleveland for the last couple of games he's been back. So
I think Cleveland won that deal. Obviously, I don't know if he's still a pile of crap person, but
he probably is. But if he produces on a football field, I suppose.
And Benaya, let me just say this: that was not racial. That was documented. Okay.
See, so Benaya sent me that question, and then he was before the news came out. He said it like yesterday or 2 days ago. He was like, "Yeah, do you think that?" I told him I wasn't going to say this, but I'll say it anyway. I was like, do you think you said like the N-word to him before and he said this to me like 2 days ago. I was like, and then when the news came out, he like sent me the link to the news, and he it was like, see, I told you. I was like, okay, well, I guess, Steelers fans think he's a dick too.
Apparently.
Yeah. But, and then, so moving on to Ronald Jones, another dud this week. He had 2.4 fantasy points. He only had 4 rushes for 13 yards, and 2 catches for 1 yard. So that's a little confusing because, the backfield for the Buccaneers was supposed to be Ronald Jones. So, that he didn't look so hot this week, and he although they didn't rush a total, they didn't rush too much this week, so I don't really know what's going on in that backfield either. Maybe they fell behind, and I think they just needed to throw.
Even Jesus couldn't predict what's going to happen.
That's true.
One week, Jameis throws for like 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, and Godwin and Evans are unreal. Jones gets in the mix. And then the next week, it's like they have like a total of negative -5 yards.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, dude, I think Bruce Arians going to stroke out before they fire him.
Do you think that's just the Jameis Winston problem?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, because I feel like
he's way too. He doesn't protect the football.
Yeah.
Regardless of his talent, which it seems like it plays hide and go seek.
Right.
Sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
You can't be a QB1 in this league if you're not consistent.
Right.
And I think they'll be moving on from Jameis Winston after this year.
Potentially, he's a pretty decent fantasy quarterback, but
yeah,
real NFL quarterback, he's trash.
No, I think Arians is going to want to draft his own guy.
Yeah, he might.
Because Bruce Arians does not like losing. Historically, he's a very good coach.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he has been.
So I do expect him to turn them around, but I don't think Jameis Winston's going to be a part of it, or if he is, he'll be on the bench.
Yeah, I could see him. I almost feel like him being on the bench would be beneficial for him because did he come in as a rookie or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he got some tick as a rookie. Don't you remember they had the whole Ryan Fitzpatrick thing going on?
Yeah. I mean, last year they had.
Was that last year?
Last year was the Fitzpatrick where they benched Winston for Fitzpatrick. Yeah. So I don't think that was his rookie year, though. I think he was in the league.
He's been in 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Into that time where it's like, this is what he is.
Right. Yeah, maybe. I
mean, just like you saw with Marcus Mariota, they realize this dude's average is all he's going to be.
Yeah.
That's Tannehill, who's, slightly above average.
Yeah, well, actually, that's surprising. Tannehill in the Tennessee offense has actually looked good. Pretty good.
He's got more arm talent than Mariota.
Yeah.
And he's actually surprisingly athletic.
I think just not being in Miami really helped him, too.
Yeah, and I mean, he had a rough go at injuries, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Miami is where careers go to die, apparently.
Yeah, except for Fitzpatrick, I guess. So.
Dude, if you would have told me that Ryan Fitzpatrick is still a starting QB in the league, I would have told you. How does this dude keep sticking around?
He's winning games. That's how he does it.
I know. Not only is he on the bench, he's starting. You're kidding. And he has nobody on that offense.
I know. And he's beating teams. I don't know how he's doing it.
And that beard is fantastic.
Yeah, it is. But I wish to have a beard like that someday.
That's just life in the NFL, I guess.
It is.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah. So the last running back dud this week was James Conner. He got hurt. He only had 2.1 points. So re-injured that shoulder. But like I said, course grabbed Jalen Samuels, and he'll be the starting running back this week. So moving on to the wide receiver category, Mohamed Sanu, for me, unfortunately, had 2.2 fantasy points. He only had 2 catches for 4 yards. That was kind of a nightmare for me because he came in his first week, or I guess it was his second week with New England. He put up big points.
How many points did he have?
This week he only had 2, but
that big week.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago it was like 19 or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he had like almost 100 points and a touchdown, or 100 yards and a touchdown.
100
look real quick.
Damn.
Yeah, he was up there. Oh, I dropped him. I don't know why I dropped him. I'm a.
Wait, you dropped Sanu?
I did. You can go pick him up if you want him.
Who'd you pick up?
A defense. The Packers defense. They have good playoff matchups. Yeah, he had 19 points 2 weeks ago. He had 10 catches for 81 yards and a touchdown.
They do have good playoff matchups.
They do. That's why I picked him up. So hopefully I make it into the playoffs, but I didn't think I really needed. I'm not playing him this week, and next week I'm getting Keenan Allen back. and so I didn't think I would need him. I'd have Keenan Allen and Cooper Kupp, and then I'd have running backs that would go into the flex position. No more buys after this week, so so I figured I wouldn't play him. So why keep him? So if somebody else wants him, they can have him.
True. Plus, that New England offense is sputtering.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, they're dying for a second wide receiver.
I don't know why they let go of Josh Gordon.
I don't either. Maybe it sounded like it was more off the field stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, at least he wasn't testing positive.
Yeah, I don't know. Another dud this week. Tyreek Hill had a goose. He got injured early, and he, didn't have a chance to score some points. And then Juju had 3.1 fantasy points. He had 2 catches for 21 yards. Man, that Steelers offense doesn't really know what to do without Big Ben. Yeah, that's all you need to say, really. That's how they've been all year. So,
but they do show life sometimes, They I mean, they started like 0-4, didn't they?
Yeah, and then they won a bunch in a row.
I think they're like 4-5.
Yeah.
They went on a pretty good streak.
Yeah, they were winning games, but
maybe 4-6 now.
They weren't doing it by passing, or they were passing to like Jalen Samuels. One game had like 18 targets or something crazy.
Yeah.
So they've been doing very short throws. I think his average depth of target was like under 5 yards. So
take what that Steelers offense looked like at the end of last year compared to now. It's not even close.
Oh yeah, night and day. Yeah, it's crazy. But
they lost a lot of talent.
They did, and it's taking a toll. So, at the tight end position, what's that?
Sorry, Benaiah.
Sorry, Benaiah. At the tight end position, Darren Fells only had 2.3 fantasy points, and Gerald Everett had 2.5 fantasy points, and they were both kind of in the same streaming category. It's kind of, if you get a touchdown, you're happy.
Tight ends are bipolar this year.
Yeah, exactly. They've been, the last couple of years, it's been tough for tight ends. But all right, on to the matchup reactions category. So now this is where we talk about all of the matchups from last week. So the first one is our matchup, the Scary Terrys versus Big Ben's Bathroom. Now you took me down 109 to 98.9, but I think going into the last game, we were talking about this, I was down, I think I had 81 fantasy points.
Yeah.
So Keenan Allen started scoring points, and I got excited. But
yeah, I was getting worried.
But him scoring 30,
it didn't help. I left 26 points on my bench.
Yeah, that's true. I saw, actually, now that you mentioned that, I remember watching DJ Chark go off on your bench, and I was like, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God that he didn't play against me this week. But
yeah, that won't happen again.
So the studs on my team, we talked about Josh Allen already. He had a great game. Keenan Allen had 17.1 fantasy points for me this week. He finally had a good game, and I've been waiting ever since the trade. He had his first 3 big weeks. Then I traded for him, and then he stopped. He didn't get over 10 points until, I think, 2 weeks ago. And then this week he had 17. So that's been good. I got signs of life.
Yeah, I think he'll finish strong. He does that sometimes. I've had him in a keeper league for this is the 3rd year now, and he usually is really, his bad games are solid.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it hasn't been awful. Like, he hasn't gotten me 0, but it hasn't been what I wanted from Keenan Allen.
Yeah,
especially trading away Devontae Adams, but oh well. And that didn't really work out for Neil either. So since he got hurt, so but yeah, so my duds were Sanu and Josh Lambo, my kicker. Otherwise, it was just kind of a bunch of mediocre games. Yeah. For your team, your studs, your main stud, Michael Thomas, that got you 21.4 fantasy points. He's been solid.
Thank you for everything you've done for me, Michael Thomas. I wish you the best.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And now he's off the team. That's what you get. Hey, we both got rid of our studs after this week. So, I dropped Josh Allen. Yeah. But, and then your duds, was Miles Sanders. Like, you only had one dud, so and that was 5.7 points, which isn't really that big of a dud.
No.
It's not a bad floor. So
No.
that was a tough matchup against New
There's no
England.
way I was playing him against New England.
Yeah. So, and then was there anything else you wanted? Did you want to lord this victory over me, or?
No, man. I think you've got a good team. I think you'll end up in the playoffs, so I think you might get another shot at it.
Yeah, we'll meet again, hopefully.
Yeah.
All right, matchup number 2, Rodgers Cup versus the running Mayfields. Now, the running Mayfields took them down 101.9 to 72.4 points, and they got their much-needed win against a meager-looking Rodgers Cup. So,
does anybody know what Adam's goal is right now with what he's doing with all these trades?
Well, I think he was trying to get one of either Zeke or Saquon off his team, so that he didn't have the whole, keeper debacle.
Yeah.
So I think he's trying to get one of them off and trying to get another keeper in return. So I'm sure he's planning on keeping Michael Thomas, although he's got Tyreek Hill, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what his plans are.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense if that's his plan.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I really don't know. I don't know what goes on in Adam's head the vast majority of the time.
Maybe it'll turn out to be a gloriful masterpiece.
It could be. Maybe he'll make the playoffs. I don't think he's technically eliminated yet. So, although he might have been after this week. He might have been. I don't know for sure.
A rough start.
Yeah. So his studs, he had the San Francisco defense, who got him 16 points this week. And then Zeke got 18.3 fantasy points, so that was a solid game. He only had 45 rushing yards, and he had 1 touchdown. But he also had 2 catches for 28 yards and a catching touchdown. So he had 2 total touchdowns, and he got most of those points from touchdowns. So on the studs, he had Tyreek Hill, Allen Robinson had 3.5 fantasy points, and Adrian Peterson had 4 fantasy points. And then it was just an overall rough week. He only scored 70 fantasy points, so
that was a struggle.
He's been on that bus all year, ever since he traded for Saquon.
Yeah.
So, and on the running Mayfields, the studs category, he had Austin Eckler, who had 17.2 fantasy points. He had 8 catches for 108 yards, and I don't know if he had any rushing yards. I didn't put that in here, but they're basically negligible. So he makes all of his, his big plays, all of his points in the air. So he's been good even since Melvin Gordon's been back for the most part.
I really didn't think Eckler would still be relevant.
I didn't either. I thought at best he would be maybe a flex.
Yeah.
That's what kind of he's always been. But
yeah,
somehow he's making bank as like a running back too.
Yep.
So Courtland Sutton had 16.3 fantasy points. I'm really jealous about this pickup that he had. If I would have grabbed Courtland Sutton, then my wide receiver woes would have not been happening.
Yeah. Dude, have you seen him play?
I really haven't watched much of him.
He's impressive, man. I've had my eye on him since last year, I swear. Yeah. I'm like, this dude has all the tools, the size, the speed, everything.
Yeah.
But I had no reason to get him because their quarterback has always sucked.
Right.
Well, at least the past 2 years,
Yeah.
And then they always had veteran number ones that were.
Yeah, that was I think
Sanders.
the big
problem. But this new dude, Brandon Allen, seems like he can toss it a little bit.
Well, he can at least get it to Courtland Sutton.
Yeah.
So he had 5 catches for 113 yards, and yeah, like you said, I've heard like a lot of people are talking about how he's like an athletic freak.
Yeah.
So he's very athletic.
He looks good when he moves, man.
Yeah. I'll have to check out some tape of him and just kind of see how he plays. But
he's big too.
Yeah, he is. That's one thing that I have seen. He is a big dude.
Yeah.
And then his third stud was Mark Andrews. So he caught four catches for 75 yards and a touchdown. So
is he tight end 1 this year?
I don't think so, because he missed it. He missed a couple games. I think.
Is it Kelce?
I think it's a Hooper.
Really?
Yeah. Hooper has been great.
I didn't know he's been that good.
Mark Andrews is tight end 3.
Okay.
I think it was. I'm pretty sure it's Hooper. I'm not positive.
Wow.
But
well, dude, did you even know who Mark Andrews was before this year?
He was on my radar not before this year, but there was like I listened to some podcasts before the season started, and a lot of people were talking up Mark Andrews.
I missed that one. I had no idea who he was.
Yeah, he was on my radar, and in a few drafts, I like grabbed him with my last pick and put him on my bench.
Yeah.
So I have him in a couple of leagues, but yeah, I didn't grab him in this one. Yeah, I missed out on this one. So, and to be honest, like I was really concerned because he had a good first couple weeks, and then he kind of took a dive for a little bit, and he hasn't had the snap counts. I don't think he's only playing in like 40% of snaps or something small, but he's getting the points, so that's really all that matters.
He's clearly one of Lamar's go-to guys.
Yeah, he definitely is. And I think that was why a lot of people were talking him up because when Lamar came in last year, that's kind of who he started throwing to. It wasn't enough to get him like a lot of fantasy, he wasn't really fantasy relevant at the end of the year, but like he was starting to get targets from Lamar, and that was why like they were saying year 2 with Lamar and Mark Andrews, like it's going to be good.
Yeah.
But and then
just start paying attention to tight end more in general.
I know. Yeah, that's kind of like I made mistakes at the tight end position this year. Like I grabbing Hawkinson after week 1 and following the points, but that's something that you can't really do with tight ends because they have one big week and then they don't do anything. So you kind of got to follow the usage, the targets, and go from there. But
matchups.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like Arizona is the number 1 matchup for tight ends this year. Like they can't stop anybody.
Yeah.
But in the running Mayfields, his only dud really was Tyler Boyd with 1.5 fantasy points. He only had 1 catch for 0 yards, and he had 1 rush for 10 yards. So
what the fuck's happening in Cincinnati?
Ryan Finley is happening in Cincinnati. So
where's Dalton? Is he hurt?
No, he was sat, I think.
Oh, they just benched him?
Yeah, I think they realized that this was this season was kind of out of hand, and so they put in their rookie just to get him some work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what Andy Dalton's going to do going forward, but
yeah. I really wish they would have traded AJ Green. He's trapped.
I know. Yeah, that sucks. And
he's really good too.
He is. Yeah, and he could do huge things with a good quarterback.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
On to matchup number 3. Mixon Mack versus my tight end Ertz when I fart. I fart.
You should get that looked at, Aaron.
He should get that looked at. That's for sure. Mixon Mack took him down 128.8 to 115.3. Now, I think this was the top 2 scorers of the week.
Ooh, same game.
Yes. So unfortunately,
on the losing side.
Yeah, I hate that when I'm the second highest scorer and I lose to the first.
Yeah.
So in this high-scoring affair, Mixon and Mack team up to bring down the butthurt tight end Ertz when I fart. So I try to think of those little taglines when I can, but sometimes I just can't think of something.
That literally that literally looks like I don't know if I can say this, but
go ahead.
It literally looks like a tagline for a porn video, dude. Mixon and Mack team up to bring down a butthurt tight end Ertz when I fart.
It could be. It could be.
That sounds X-rated. All right, I'm sorry.
That's okay. That is okay. I knew it was cheesy. So
yeah.
So team Mixon Mack, they're studs this week. Lamar Jackson at the helm had 33.5 fantasy points. Alvin Kamara had a great game. He had 17.2 fantasy points. He was just outside of that top 3 running backs this week. And then Marvin Jones had a big game for 17.9 points. Now, I don't know what's going on with Marvin Jones, but somehow he's been doing fantastic this year.
Well, ever since Driscoll's taken over, he's been getting
Driscoll's
more
been he has definitely.
Okay. And Driscoll just might throw to Jones more.
Right. I think both of them have been fantasy relevant with Driscoll. So I think Driscoll is a very good.
I think Galladay's still ranked in the top 10.
Yeah, I think so. And Driscoll's been a great fill-in for Stafford. Like, he's been fantastic.
Yeah, I'm a Gators fan, so I saw Driscoll when he was there.
Oh yeah, for
with
sure.
Muschamp.
Yeah.
That was another shit show in itself. It was a bad offense for Driscoll, but you could tell he had NFL talent.
Right. No, yeah, he's looking really good.
Good to see him get an opportunity.
Yeah, I watched him last week when they played the Bears, and he actually he didn't have a fantastic game, but he looked really good.
Yeah, and he's big, man, and he can run.
Yeah, he can move. That's for sure. So I think that kind of helps him, extend.
I think he's like 245 pounds.
Is he that big? That's insane.
Let me look.
But
dude, he was a powerful runner in college.
Yeah, his mobility really helps him extend plays and kind of get out of the pocket, kind of Aaron Rodgers-esque. But yeah, he was looking really good. So
238.
238. That's a big boy.
He's bigger than Jacoby Brissett.
Dang. Yeah, he's a monster. Yeah, he has potential to be a good quarterback in the league.
6'4".
Yeah. Dang.
He's a big guy.
He is big.
He
does. I think
Is this the heir to Matt Stafford?
It might be. I don't know how many. I guess Matt Stafford actually. Yeah, I think for off the field reasons. Well, and the fact that he has a broken back.
Yeah.
But he was talking about potentially retiring.
Oh, really?
At one point, like last off season or something, he was considering it.
All the health issues with his wife.
His wife, yeah, exactly. So, so he was thinking about it. So
he's been a staple for Detroit for what, 8 to 10 years?
Yeah, he's been in the league for quite a while. So,
and he's been good. He's been a good quarterback.
He has. Yeah, he hasn't really had much around him for the most part.
Yeah. It'd just be interesting to see if they kind of start to like Driscoll and maybe Stafford ends up somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe they can
Matt Stafford to the Bears.
Oh, there you go. They're looking for a running back or a quarterback.
What do you think, Chicago? Look out.
Yeah. So the duds.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
If that happens.
Matt Stafford interconference trading to the Bears.
Yeah.
So the duds for Mix and Mac, he had Darren Fells, who just had 2.3 fantasy points. Otherwise, he had a good game or a good week this week. And for my tight end, Ertz, when I Furt, the studs on his team were Calvin Ridley, who had 24.3 fantasy points, Travis Kelce, who had 18.7 fantasy points, and Todd Gurley, who had 18.8 fantasy points. So all three of those guys were on our studs category this week. So it's just unfortunate that he also had Deshaun Watson in his studs, who only got him 4 points. So not bad games from everyone, just not enough points to win this week. So on to matchup number 4. Zerline, I never hit you. I did not. Versus Brandon Cooks Kittlecorn. Brandon Cooks Kittlecorn takes down Zerline, I never hit you, 98 points to 91.9 points. So not very high scoring. Neither team broke 100, but it was a solid fight nonetheless. For Team Zerline, I never hit you, he had Dak Prescott as his stud this week, 31.6 fantasy points. In his duds, he had Juju, who we talked about. He had Sony Michel, who only had 5.4 fantasy points. And Washington's defense, who only had 2 points. So
Washington.
I know. I don't know why Washington defense was started in the first place, but
hey, am I missing something here with Benaya's name? I don't understand this phrase.
Yes, it is. It's kind of an inside joke. I don't know if you've ever seen The Room, the movie The Room.
Yeah, I think I have.
Yeah, so Tommy Wiseau, the main character, he has a part in that movie. He's a very horrific actor. And he has a part in that movie where he goes, "You're lying. I never hit you. I did not." And
Oh,
so,
okay.
yes. So he made it Zerline. I never
Yeah,
hit you.
that's like the cult classic because
It
it's so
is.
right.
Yes, that's
That
it.
yeah. Okay, yeah. I watched that like last year and I was like, what the hell am I
Oh
watching?
yeah. Yeah. That's one of those movies. Let me tell you, you have not truly seen that movie. They um they go to theaters around the
I know. Yeah,
US.
I read
Yeah.
that. Dude,
Yeah.
I was so weirded out after I watched it that I had to Google it and see like what the hell
Yeah.
was going on.
Yeah.
I
So I
got
don't
like
know if
stuck into like an internet loophole for like 2 hours, but
Oh yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen Rocky Horror Picture Show. Have you
I've,
heard of it?
I've heard of it.
So they usually do their show at like midnight, and they like people they get either give people things or people bring stuff and they like throw it on stage for like the show. And so it's kind of like a comedic, like interactive sort of deal.
Yeah, like
But at
hey, let's all watch this shitty movie together.
Exactly. So at the theater, you can bring like plastic spoons or like, just a whole bunch of random stuff. And so like when you see a picture, so like in the background of the movie, there are pictures of utensils. And like when you see a picture, a framed photo of a utensil, you throw the plastic spoons in the air. And like,
Oh,
everybody's throwing shit all over the place. And then like when they do scenes of like the Golden Gate Bridge across the whole thing, they do like go, 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 go. And then when it gets to the end, everybody cheers. And
yeah.
then they show like the
That sounds
iconic.
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun. And I
Did you?
actually went to one that Tommy Wiseau was at.
No way. Where
Yeah, it was in Chicago when it was just on tour.
is he? Did you get to like shake his hand or anything?
I got a high five from him.
Is he like as awkward?
Oh yeah. Oh
Really?
So beforehand he did before the movie started, he went up and did like a small speech, and he like, he was just as awkward as he was in the movie with the same accent and like everything. It's obnoxious.
That would make me so uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, it does. It does. But
Uh,
no, it was great. It was fantastic. So that's why his name is that.
yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Now I know, but I approve of the name.
There you go. So yeah, Zerline, I never hit you, just not enough this week to take down the reigning champ, Brandon Cooks Kittlecorn.
However, you have a problem with Mr. Kittlecorn.
Yeah, I do too. But go ahead and say it.
Mr. Brandon Cooks is no longer on your roster, so.
Yes, and neither is George Kittle. So his whole name.
Oh, what? Courts, get it together, bro.
It's
You're
gone.
lying to us all.
Yeah.
Name is the lie, you lie.
I know. Now I have to give him crap now because I gave Ryo crap when his team no longer had the player that was on his team name. So
When was that?
he had Kerryon Johnson. So Carry On My Wayward Son.
Oh, he dropped him?
Yeah, because he won an injured reserve.
Oh, bro, I'm
He-
gonna go pick him up, put him on my roster, and keep him.
You could do that. So
Come on, guys, can't top star players like that.
that's the problem. It's our first year keeper league, so we're
Well, this is why I'm being friendly. I'm spreading this
there you go.
across the league.
Exactly. We're learning as we go.
Yeah.
So
Well,
next year,
you're also gonna learn the hard way.
okay, that's the way to do it. Next year we're gonna be ruthless. So
Good. I like that.
so on to Brandon Cooks Kittlecorn, his one stud was Christian McCaffrey, who every single week he's in this category. In the duds, he had James Conner, who had 2.1, and that was only because he got hurt. And then he didn't really have any other duds. It was just kind of the battle of the mediocre with Christian McCaffrey on one side and Dak on the other. So it was just kind of I looked at this and like everybody had right around 10 points. So it wasn't very exciting. It wasn't very, nobody did bad. Nobody did good. So matchup number 5, Jacobs Jingleheimer Schmidt versus Try and Stop Me from Auto Picking.
When did Rayo change his team name?
After I gave him shit for having his name Carry On My Wayward Son.
Yeah, we just talked about that. My bad.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So, yeah, and to be honest, like if you're not playing against them, you don't really notice.
No,
If
sometimes
people change their names or whatever. But
everybody
yeah.
scores, but
So Josh Jacobs Jingleheimer Schmidt won 99.8 to 90.6 points. Very similar scoring to the previous matchup. Um, on Team Try and Stop Me from Auto Pick, he had Mark Ingram, and the New Orleans D came through and had big games for him. New Orleans D had 4 interceptions and a touchdown this week.
how about the Saints defense, man?
Yeah, they're legit.
They're a top 8 defense so far.
Oh, definitely. Yeah,
they're ranked 6th in fantasy.
Are they? Yeah, they've been nuts. So
and that's typically New Orleans has had a terrible defense.
Yeah, I think
that's why they could never make deep playoff runs.
Right. I think last year they started to pick it up close to the end of the, and then they've just continued it this year.
That's
so
some serious speed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then in the duds category, Curtis Samuel and Emmanuel Sanders both just had like 4 or 5 points, so that wasn't too hot for Team Auto Pick. And then Josh
Moore is the number 1, right?
What's that?
Would you say that DJ is number 1 over Curtis Samuel?
Oh yeah, DJ Moore has definitely gotten a lot of the. He's gotten a lot of the looks. He's gotten a lot of the targets. He's getting a lot of catches. He's been doing really good.
Samuel's kind of snagging some of the TDs.
Yeah, well, he's the guy that's kind of the boomer bust kind of long play sort of guy. So if you get one or two good plays from him, you're happy to have him for a week. And then Team Josh Jacobs Jingleheimer Schmidt had John Brown as his stud for 30.2 fantasy points. He scored almost a third of Josh Jacobs Jingleheimer Schmidt's points. So there you go. And then in his duds, he had Damian Williams, Gerald Everett, and Ronald Jones, all of them in our duds category this week. So not so great.
Can I ask a non-racially violent question again?
Sure.
Would it be weird if John Brown was white?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not racist, right?
No. I don't know if I know of a white person that has the last name Brown.
I mean, there's got to be somebody.
I'm sure there is, but I don't know them.
Well, I mean, just first perception of the name. You assume.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you watched The Office? Yeah. The Diversity Day, Mr. Brown. I think I lost your audio. I'm not hearing you.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there you go.
Okay, sorry. I was probably just leaning too far away.
Maybe. I don't know. It seemed like it almost cut out. But yeah, Mr. Brown of The Office. There you go.
Classic.
But all right, on to my favorite section of every week, the waiver wire team that would destroy us all.
Dude. Well, so when you sent me this, I was scrolling through it, just kind of grazing it, and I got to this at the end, and it made me. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I love this section
because it's just funny because at times you feel so helpless with your roster, and you're like, you don't trust in the waiver wire, and then you see this and you're like, holy shit!
I could have picked up this whole team for free and beat everybody.
Yeah, do this every week.
Exactly.
It's crazy to me.
I know. I love this. This is all just mostly no-name guys that just go ham, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, that's I mean, look at these. I mean, and I suppose this is the kind of the time of the year for backup running backs to get a little bit more tick. People are beat up, and because you got Gus Edwards is a backup, Pollard's a backup.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure Jakeem Grant was a backup. They play at like wide receiver and running back.
Yeah, and then Randall Cobb is the third wide receiver on his team.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Jeff Driscoll would have gotten you 27.5 fantasy points.
He gets points with his legs, man.
He does.
It's valuable quarterback.
Exactly. At the QB for this team. And then the running back one, like you said, Gus Edwards had 17.2 fantasy points. Tony Pollard was the second running back. He had 15.6 fantasy points.
Was he in like involved in the passing game, or was he getting a lot of carries?
No, I think it was the passing game. Let me double check it.
He does seem like a good receiver.
He is, and he's actually he is very similar to Zeke.
Yeah, and for some odd reason, they are hesitant to pass Zeke the ball.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that.
He's a really good receiver.
He is. Yeah. So, yeah, Pollard had 2 rushes for 12 yards, and then he had 4 catches for 44 yards and a touchdown.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, doesn't look like that big of a game, but the
Pollard could end up being a huge handcuff if Zeke gets hurt.
He could be. Yeah, I've been stashing Madison on my bench all year. Alexander Madison.
Dude, he looks good when he runs, man.
I know. That's why I grabbed him. I was like, if Dalvin Cook goes down,
injury problems, so
exactly. It's happened in the past.
You never know. You just got to be patient and sit on it.
Exactly.
It usually happens.
Oh yeah. So I hope it doesn't, but if it does, I've got Madison. So.
Wait, because you have Dalvin Cook.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So, at the wide receiver 1 for this waiver wire team was Randall Cobb, who had 19.5 fantasy points. We also had Deebo Samuel, who had 17.4 fantasy points.
Like what?
For the 49ers.
Trying to predict that 49ers fantasy. Oh my!
You can't. Outside of George Kittle, you don't know who's going to get anything.
It's a different name every time.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's this dude?
Yeah. So at the tight end, Ryan Griffin, who had 19.4 fantasy points. In the flex, we had Jakeem Grant. Is he still on the Dolphins?
As far as I know.
I think so too. He had 17.4 points. The defense, the Falcons D, who had 23 points.
You rated them that fast?
Dude, I picked them up. I picked them up this week. They've been good. The last 2 weeks they played.
They're like, oh God, we got somebody with talent. We got to trade him.
Yeah. Exactly. And then Steven Hauschka had 15 fantasy points. So the total, this team would have gotten you 172 fantasy points. Almost 50 more than the highest scorer this week.
That's insane.
Yeah. So, as I always ask my guests, why didn't you pick all of these guys up last week?
Because I'm clearly a fucking idiot.
Of course.
I'm 9-2, but I'm still an idiot.
All right. So this is another great segment that I love doing every week. And this is the matchup predictions for next week's matchups. So I did this with Ryo. I'm going to do this with you, where I'll tell you who my projected winner is, and then I'm going to ask you who you think is going to win. Okay. So if you want to pull up the matchups.
I'm doing it right now.
And we can go through it. And I will go against you this week. This is for nothing but pride.
Nothing but pride. Well,
yes.
Pride matters.
Yes. So the first matchup is my matchup for next week, the Scary Terrys versus Try and Stop Me from Auto Picking. I, of course, always have to pick myself. So I predict the Scary Terrys are going to win, and I think we're going to scrounge up enough talent here to take down the lackluster Team Auto Pick.
Sorry, bro. I'm trying to pull these up.
That's okay. Not a problem. So I have Dalvin Cook on a bye this week, which is unfortunate, and Keenan Allen on a bye, and Kyler Murray on a bye. So I'm in the bye-apocalypse here.
Owie.
Yeah, but I grabbed Baker Mayfield against Miami. Philip Lindsay.
Playing so far.
Yeah.
Oh, the Thursday night game already started.
It did.
I forgot about that. I forgot to check my lineups.
Uh-oh, you better look. It's only. We're gonna have skewed predictions here since the game already started.
Yeah.
Slightly skewed. That's okay. You don't have anybody on either team playing, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, I gotta check my other leagues though.
Yeah. All right, so.
Came back.
So who do you think will win this matchup?
Hey, Fells has 2.4 points already.
There you go.
All right, which matchup are we looking at?
The Scary Terrys versus Try and Stop Me from Auto Picking. You can take a second to look through the matchup and kind of say what you see.
Scary Terrys, Try and Stop Me.
I'm still debating on whether or not to play Tariq Cohen or do something else because
who do the Bears play?
They do play the Giants, so That's why I'm even considering him in my flex.
Because they've been pretty bad defensively, right?
The Giants have been awful.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So he's projected to beat you.
He is. It doesn't look good on paper, but I think my team has a little bit more upside.
I like to say in fantasy, man, a win is a win at the end of the day.
That's true.
You gotta get the ugly ones.
That's how you've been winning most of yours this year.
Yeah.
No, your team's put up a lot of points, but at the beginning,
early on, I had some favorable matchups.
Yeah.
I could have lost a game or two back in the first 4 to 6 games.
Yeah.
But my team's been pretty good lately.
They have been.
I lost one game by 0.2 points.
That's right. That was a big upset. That was on the last play of the game, too, wasn't it? Yeah.
I think so. That was a hard one to swallow.
I bet. That's one of the, bad beats you remember for a while.
Hey, what's going on with McLaurin? Is he doing anything?
No, he hasn't been. Ever since Dwayne Haskins has been playing. That's what I'm saying, man. My team, I'm having a rough time throwing together some people this week.
Oh, is Kittle going to come back?
I'm not sure. So right now I have Ryan Griffin in, but if I get positive feedback about Kittle, I'm going to throw him in.
I think man, this is tough.
I know. It's kind of the battle of the bad this week.
I think I'm going to go with try and stop me from Otto. Sorry, man.
There you go. I mean, hey, that's what I like having differing opinions because I always vote for me. So
yeah. It's a toss up though.
Yeah. I guess I don't see
Jarvis and Samuel and Sanders could all disappear.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. And Mark Ingram's against the Rams, who has not been very good.
Tennessee has had a pretty good defense too with Fournette, so.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think he has a lot of tough matchups.
And you don't know with Garoppolo, he might not even need to throw the ball against our run defense, so.
Yeah, exactly. So unfortunately he doesn't have any of the running backs, so.
Yeah. We'll see. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go with him.
There you go. All right. On to matchup number 2. We're going to go your matchup. Big Ben's Bathroom versus Mixon Mac. So I wrote down Big Ben's Bathroom winning this game. I think a struggling Joe Mixon because he has a rough matchup against Pittsburgh, and a hurt Marlon Mack will make it tough for Mixon Mac to win this week.
Man, Neil has some serious talent on his team. I can't believe he's 4-7.
Yeah, I know. He's had a great team on paper, but he's just never really pulled it together.
And he's got some talent. I mean, obviously he benefited from that Montgomery trade, I think, but
yeah. I think I was very close to picking him in this matchup because your team has some rough matchups.
Not the best. I still don't know what I'm going to do at QB yet.
Yeah.
I think probably Carolina just got torched by Atlanta.
Yeah.
So we'll see about that. I know San Francisco's got a tough defense.
But,
yeah. Le'Veon Bell's showing life.
He is. And he's going against Oakland. So
yeah. So I think
that's a great matchup.
At the flex. Obviously Jones and Barkley and Cooper and Chark have all been pretty solid. So if any of them break out, I like my chances.
I do too. So we both have you for next week.
I'm gonna go with this one on this Neil, but I'm a little worried.
Yeah, for sure. I think this will be a matchup to watch this weekend. That's for sure. So on to matchup number 3, the running Mayfields versus Zerline that never hits you. I did not. So this game has already started because Zerline that never hits you already has Carlos Hyde in the game. So I predicted Zerline that never hit you to win because I think that Austin Eckler being on bye is going to allow Zerline that never hit you to get that win over the running Mayfields this week. It's tough to tell because he still has Eckler in his lineup.
Brandon, check your fucking lineup, dude. Second of all, I don't know, man.
He doesn't. He doesn't have another. He has to figure out something at the running back position because he doesn't have another running back.
Yeah, he doesn't. No.
So he needs to pick somebody up.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna go with Benai on this one. I haven't even looked at his team yet.
Yeah, that's okay. I think this one's kind of a slam dunk though.
Benai's got kind of a rough week with buys too.
It's true, but I tell you what.
Probably plug Geis in at the flex.
Yeah.
He looked
for Michelle. Yeah, I think so too. Actually,
Sony has been struggling. Unfortunately, I have him in another league, and I'm getting worried about him.
Yeah.
That offense has not been the same.
That's true, but the thing with the Patriots is somehow they always step it up once it starts snowing.
Yeah.
And Michelle gets hella yards when it starts snowing. So he's always been better in the second half of the season.
I guess I'll have to completely change my philosophy on snow then.
Yeah, well, it's only good for Sony Michelle.
For no snow, yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think Devontae Parker against Cleveland is going to be a fantastic start this week.
Yeah.
He's one of the guys that could definitely
pretty viable option once Preston Williams got hurt.
Yeah, definitely. And even actually before Preston Williams got hurt, he was still getting still
on top of him.
He was, but Devontae Parker was getting the touchdowns. He got a few touchdowns. Let me take a look here. Yeah, I mean, ever since week 4, I don't know when Preston Williams got hurt, but week 4, he's either had a touchdown or almost 60 yards in each game.
Okay, so he's been consistent.
Yeah, he's been really good. He hasn't since week 4. He hasn't had a game below 8.9 points. So he's been good. He's got a high floor and a low ceiling. Basically, he's a solid wide receiver too, I think.
Yeah.
All right, on to matchup number 4. Josh Jacobs Jingleheimer Schmidt versus Rogers Cup. I projected Rogers Cup to win this one. I think Saquon. Well, wait. Hang on. This changes everything. I made this before the stupid trade. Holy cow. Oh, man. I'm going to have to change this now. No, I can't. I can't pick Rogers Cup anymore. This is unprecedented. I have to change my pick on air. Holy cats. Yeah, so I predicted that Saquon was going to turn it around this week, so that'll be good for you.
Okay.
Yeah, and wait, do you have him in your lineup right now?
Yes, I do.
Oh, you do? Okay. Yeah. Yep, so I think Josh Jacobs Jingleheimer Schmidt is going to take this one because I think he gave up his best fantasy asset. Although he does have Michael Thomas now, but he has to put in Adrian Peterson as a running back this week.
Yeah.
And it is against Detroit, but Adrian Peterson, it's Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, I think they're going to start rolling with Geis.
I think so too. And I think Peterson, wasn't he? Yeah, he's questionable.
He's not questionable a year. He's old.
He has turf toe. So we know what that did to Devontae Adams.
Looking at Raymond's team, I think he's clearly got the talent this week.
Yeah, I think so.
You gotta love Breida against Green Bay.
Yeah.
Jacobs has been a beast all year.
He has been.
Seattle's defense with Wentz, Seattle hasn't been that great.
Right, I agree. I think he's gonna have a good week this week, and he's gonna take down Rogers Cup.
Sorry, Adam, but not sorry. Going with
All right. And the last matchup this week is my tight end Ertz when I Fertz versus Brandon Cooks Kittlecorn. So
boo that name.
Get out of here with that.
Boycott.
I should just take the name off of his team until he thinks of a new one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I projected that Brandon Cooks Kittlecorn, as unfortunate as that name is, will outscore my tight end Ertz when I Fert. And I think it's going to be a high-scoring game because I looked at these, and both teams have fantastic matchups. But I think Brandon Cooks Kittlecorn is going to take the cake.
And it looks like, and this is
it's cheating a little bit.
Yeah, because you can see this matchup is happening right now. And,
it is. And Deshaun Watson already has an interception.
Yeah, and he's only got 4 points or 0.4 points, and it's halfway through the second quarter. So obviously Watson might be on a bit of a slide. Normally project him with at least 20 points.
Right.
So I'm going to have to go with, unfortunately, I'm going to have to go with Courts on this one. But Courts, I hope you lose.
I do too, but the odds are.
Want that number one spot back, boy.
Yeah, you guys can have the number one spot, but I'm going to win the championship. So
whatever.
That's what I say. All right, so I have one more thing on this show, Doc, that you do not have. I have one extra question. Yeah, it's a surprise. One extra question, and it's from Adam. And this is not really fantasy related, but that's okay.
Okay.
Do you think that you guys will roll over your No Shave November beards into fantasy football beards this year like they do with playoff hockey? Would the beards give your teams the extra strength needed for super tough playoff matchups?
This is a serious question.
It's a serious question. He sent it to me, and he was like...
He wants to know if I'm going to continue my No Shave November beard into fantasy football playoffs for good luck.
Yes.
The thought hadn't crossed my mind.
Yeah, me neither.
And I honestly can tell you, Adam, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But
I was in the same boat.
I'm definitely going to be giving him shit at work tomorrow because that's a weird question.
He thinks of some weird questions.
Like,
that's for sure. Yeah, that's just Adam for you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm in the same boat. I really have no idea what's going to happen to this after December hits. I might just trim it a little bit and just get I do
a little beardage going on too, huh?
I do. I trim the neck for November. So I keep this but after December hits, I might trim this a little bit just to right now it's still got the hard edges on the hairs, but if you trim it, then it becomes soft. That's the key. Yeah. So maybe
I haven't seen you in a while, man. I can grow a mean beard now.
Yeah, I know. It was looking good. I think you had a bit of one during the draft. You had a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had a bit of one going, and it was looking good. That beard does look mean. That's for sure.
It's full, man, and I love making Adam jealous. So.
Oh yeah, Adam can't grow anything. You've seen his atrocious facial hair that's been going on recently.
Let's not even give it the attention. It doesn't deserve the attention. That's why he does it, because of the attention.
I know he does, and his mom hates it, and everybody else around him is just like, oh, it's grody, but he
gets enjoyment out of.
He does.
Uncomfortable.
He does, and it's funny.
Ooh, hold on. Rogers Cup just went up by 9.
Did they? Was there a touchdown?
Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, there you go. Off to a hot start, Rogers Cup. I still think you're going to lose.
Yeah, I hope so.
So, all right. Well, Chad, thank you so much for being on the podcast this week.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It was fun.
It's been great having you, and I love having somebody to do this with because me just talking for 40 or 50 minutes is just dull to me. I mean, it's fun, but it's not as fun as being with somebody and talking with somebody about all this and new tangents come up and
I appreciate you letting me chime in and
for sure.
I appreciated being on. It was fun, man.
Yeah, for sure. Well, good luck to the rest of you show bags this week, and I hope I stay in the playoff running. That's all I gotta say, because I gotta get this win this week. So
important week.
Exactly, and all of you that need to lose for me to stay in the playoff hunt, you guys do that. So
everybody eat a dick.
All right. Goodbye, all of you.